What's going on, everybody? Top 10 Pokemon back, and in today's video we will be doing part 2 of our series of Pokemon cards that have been resurrected from the dead. In today's video we'll be featuring 5 more Pokemon cards, 3 modern and 2 vintage, that at one point were at all-time record-breaking highs, but then came crashing down about as hard as a card could possibly crash, only to be revived in today's extremely hot market. And please stay tuned to the very end because I dug up sales data on a particular card that might blow your freaking mind. Quick shout out to today's video sponsor. It is the one and only lowpopping.com, your source for investment-worthy Pokemon cards. If you are a collector of high-end and of course low pop Pokemon cards, you need to go check out the inventory on lowpopping.com. There you will find that they specialize in selling very valuable and difficult to obtain PSA, BGS, and CGC graded cards. A lot of these cards, folks, you won't find anywhere else. Not only that, but they have tons of unique autographed cards and tons of vintage sealed product as well. And they also let you trade your cards for the grail or grails that you must have for your collection. And you can very easily make offers on a lot of their inventory. Lowpopping.com is a must for anyone in the market for high-end Pokemon card grails. I will put a link to their website in the description of this video. Support the channel, go check them out, and let me know what you pick up. Alright folks, these kind of videos are ones that I am really excited about. I just love this kind of information. So let's get started off with the first card on today's video. It is the amazing rare Rayquaza from Vivid Voltage. Folks, this card as a PSA 10 at one point was selling for over $300. Here is a sale and auction back in January of 2021 where it sold for $310, and this card went all the way up to $380 in auction, believe it or not. Now, contrary to the fact that these amazing rare cards are not only easy to pull but also very easy to grade, that didn't stop people from sinking hundreds of dollars into these cards as PSA 10s. Now, throughout the course of a couple of years of this set being out, there is a total of 9,763 PSA 10 copies of this card alone, which caused the price to come crashing down to about $14.50 at one point, believe it or not. And folks, that is a mind-numbing 96% decrease from the height of this card all the way down to the lowest of lows. But this video is about cards being resurrected. Now, this card has not come back to the price of $300+. I'm not sure that it ever will, but in the most recent auctions of this card, we've seen it sell for $48. Here's another sale for $66, all the way up to about $79.20 for a PSA 10 copy. So once again, a far cry from $380. I'm not sure it would ever get back up to that price point, but $79 is a lot better than $14. Am I right? The number 2 card in today's video I've always said was the prettiest card in all of XY Evolutions. It is the Holographic Mew. And folks, at one point this card was selling in auction for $710 back in early 2021. And now at that time, there was a very low amount of PSA 10s for this card. However, in today's population, there are 271 PSA 10 copies, so a significant amount less than that of the amazing rare Rayquaza. However, being a lower pop card didn't quite stop the price from plummeting. Back in 2022, this card was selling for about $76. Here's a sale for $75, all the way down to about $68 for a PSA 10 copy. However, we have seen a triumphant return for this Holographic Mew, most recently selling in auction as of June 1st for $510. So, wow, talk about record-breaking heights, $700 some, all the way down to about $60 some, now back up to over $500. What a roller coaster ride of a card, which leads me to the third and final modern card in today's video. It is this gold medal Pikachu card from the Celebrations Ultra Premium Collection box. Folks, when this card was first graded and first hit the market, it was selling for over $10,000, $10,144 to be exact. And back then, this was like a Pop 1 card. It really was. Because it wasn't shortly after they graded this card, PSA stopped grading metal cards because I guess they really couldn't, at that time, secure them in the slabs properly. So for the longest time, they were no longer grading these metal cards. But I guess over time they fixed that problem, started grading them again, and as of today, there are 321 PSA 10 copies of this card. So much like the Mew Holo, a fairly low pop modern card if you ask me. And about last year at this time, this card was selling in auction for about $620. So a 5-figure card all the way down to about $620. But what's it selling for today? I'm glad you asked, because in today's market, this card sells in auction for about $2,461. Here is another sale for $2,555. So not too shabby, right? Went from $600 all the way up to over $2,500 in just short of a year. Now on to the first of 2 vintage cards I got for you. Here is a first edition Pikachu from Neo Genesis. Now back in May of 2021, this card was selling as a PSA 10 for $455. But about a year later, we have seen sales of this card go for less than $100. Here is an auction sale of $95, another sale of $81, all the way down to about $79 for a PSA 10 copy. And much like the Mew, much like the Metal Pikachu, there are not a whole lot of PSA 10s of this card. As of the making of this video, there are only 383 PSA 10 copies. But we have seen this card come up quite a bit in the past couple of weeks, selling most recently for $384. Now on a very interesting side note, back in 2018, I love digging up old school prices of these cards. Back in 2018, this card was selling in auction for $13.87. Which leads me to the final card in today's video, and the most interesting one, if you ask me. It's the PSA 9 base set Unlimited Charizard that at one point back in late 2020 was selling for over $5,000. Now unfortunately, this vintage card has been graded thousands of times and currently has a PSA 9 population of 8,233 copies, which unfortunately caused this $5,000+ card to sink down to the lows of $720 in auction, all the way down to about $549. However, we have seen a revival in the price of this card, most recently selling in auction for $1,777. Now here's where it gets very interesting, folks. Back in 2017, you could pick this card up in auction for around $81. But that's not all, folks. Check out this sales data where this card was selling for $15, $24, $31, $29. These used to be the price points of this card as a PSA 9 back in 2008 through about 2011. These were the prices of this card. So imagine this, folks. You picked up this card back in 2008 as a PSA 9 for only $15.50. You held on to it for about 12 years and sold it for over $5,000. That would be a 32,158% increase on your investment. That is an absolutely crazy return over the course of 12 years. Now, of course, it's not worth $5,000+ now, but at one point it was, and also at one point it was $15. So collectibles, man, is such an interesting hobby, such an interesting beast. Let me know what you thought about these cards in the comments below. I look forward to hearing from you. That's all I got for you today. I will catch you all in my next one.